Emily Riedel just made one of the biggest gold discoveries in Bering Sea history. An estimated $35 million hidden in a previously untouched vein. The find immediately sent shockwaves through the mining community, putting Emily and her crew at the center of every conversation about high-stakes deep-sea mining. Months of careful planning, targeted dredging, and precise mapping led to the breakthrough. Unlike most strikes that rely on luck, Emily's methodical approach to locating gold-rich pockets proved decisive. Her crew endured freezing temperatures, unpredictable currents, and mechanical setbacks, but their persistence finally paid off. The discovery is already drawing attention from investors, rival crews, and industry analysts who call it one of the most significant hauls in recent memory. Each ton of dredged ore revealed glittering gold, confirming early estimates and exceeding expectations. For Emily Riedel, this isn't just another find, it's a milestone. With $35 million worth of gold now documented, her approach is being studied, dissected, and celebrated, setting a new standard for deep-sea mining operations in the Bering Sea and beyond. Smash that like and subscribe button if you're ready to witness the Bering Sea surrender secrets it was never meant to give. The Bering Sea has always been ruthless, cold, unpredictable, and merciless to those who dare chase fortune across its icy waves. And now, Nome itself teeters on the edge of collapse. Permits are expiring, costs are crushing even the biggest operations, and dredges once filled with hope sit rusting along the harbor. Investors have already fled, dismissing the region as mined dry, a graveyard of broken dreams. For most, the story of Nome is over, but for Emily Riedel, it's only beginning. She's under unbearable pressure, caught between bankruptcy and legend. If she can't find something extraordinary, her career, her crew, and her legacy will all sink with the rest. So she makes a decision. One last expedition, one last throw of the dice. Either uncover a discovery that shocks the world, or vanish into history as just another failed dredger. That's when a discovery falls into her hands, something far stranger than a pile of gold dust. In a sealed Russian maritime archive dated 1852, Emily uncovers a set of charts that don't belong in any ordinary collection. The faded parchment speaks of unearthly metals hidden deep beneath the Bering currents, a location marked clearly with coordinates. And next to them, an imperial seal and a decree from the Tsar himself, off limits to all vessels. The language is blunt, the waters are forbidden. It's the kind of thing most would laugh off as folklore, the kind of sea curse story old sailors tell when the whiskey flows too freely. Nome's veteran captains are quick to scoff. They whisper that ships sent to that place never returned. Compasses go haywire, storms rise from calm skies, and divers vanish without a trace. Everyone knows the stories. Everyone knows the warnings. But Emily isn't everyone. She's driven by something stronger than fear. Looking straight into the camera, she declares, "If there's gold there, we'll be the first to touch it." And with that, her crew sets course for the forbidden coordinates. The ocean around them grows restless, as if aware of what they're chasing. Sonar scans cut through the murk of the seabed, searching for something, anything, that might confirm or deny the Russian records. Hours pass, tension builds. Then, the screens flicker with an outline so massive, so unexpected, that the entire crew goes silent. Buried in silt and frozen by centuries of permafrost lies the unmistakable shape of a ship. Divers suit up, their floodlights piercing the blackness below, and what they find is more than just wreckage. It's a Russian bark, its hull unnaturally preserved in ice, its timbers intact where they should have rotted to nothing. The air is electric as they push deeper. Cargo crates litter the seabed, broken open and spilling fragments of ore that glint even through the mud. Gold. Not the tiny flecks gnomes' dredgers usually scrape up, but heavy, dense ore, unmistakably rich. Proof that the legends weren't just stories. The Russians had been here, mining this seabed, carrying gold back across the ocean before their empire sealed it all away. Crew morale surges like wildfire. If the Russians pulled gold from these waters, it means more is waiting, more than Nome has seen in 100 years. For the first time in months, Emily feels hope rising, not as a flicker, but as a roaring fire. She stares at the ghostly hull, at the crates, at the evidence of lost fortune, and realizes the truth. This isn't a random vein. This isn't natural. The Russians didn't just stumble across gold. They found it, they worked it, and then they concealed it. The vein is real. The chamber is real. And now, for the first time in centuries, Emily Riedel is closer to unlocking it than anyone alive. The shadows of the Bering aren't just in the water, they're on the surface too. The moment word slips about the Russian wreck, another dredge begins circling the horizon, holding its distance but never leaving. The crew watches it with unease, recognizing the profile. A rival captain with a reputation for swooping in on claims others bleed to find. At first, it's just presence, but then drones buzz low across the water, their rotors whining as they skim Emily's operation. The crew snaps into action, chasing them off, but they return again and again, angling their lenses toward the deck, toward the coordinates. Someone is watching every move, someone determined to steal what's been found. When night falls, the static crackle of radio chatter grows heavier. A technician on Emily's team cracks the encryption, pulling out fragments of conversation between Nome-based investors. It's no fisherman gossip. This is strategy, targeted and precise, discussing Emily's crew as if they were pieces on a board. "She's found the chamber," one voice says. "Secure the data, secure the claim." Suddenly, the hunt for gold is no longer about geology. It's corporate war. Emily's face hardens as she listens, realizing she's not just fighting the ocean. She's fighting forces with deeper pockets, sharper claws, and no conscience about taking what isn't theirs. The crew doubles down, protective of their site. Guards are posted. Lights blaze through the night, but the water itself seems restless, as though warning them of what's coming. Divers descend to take further scans of the seabed, and that's when something utterly unexplainable begins. A sound, faint at first, like the hum of a machine far away, rises from the fissures in the rock. It's no normal mechanical vibration. It resonates through their suits, crawling up the spine, a steady metallic humming that seems alive. Instruments spike, registering frequencies with no natural explanation. "It's the sea singing," one diver mutters over comms, half joking but with a quiver in his tone. When they surface, drenched and shaken, they share the same look. The sound wasn't imagined. Emily logs every detail, but her crew is rattled. At the dockside, an old Inupiat fisherman, hearing the story, warns them of an ancient belief. When the sea sings, it is not celebration. It is warning. "The ice groans before it breaks," he says. "The gold hums before it buries you." To the locals, the sound is an omen of collapse, a final warning before disaster. Half the crew is spooked, demanding they slow down, pull back, re-evaluate. But Emily refuses. Her determination only hardens. To her, the hum is not a curse, it's proof. A hollow chamber filled with something metallic, resonating beneath pressure. Gold doesn't lie, and if the sea itself is vibrating, it means they're close, closer than anyone has ever been. Arguments split the team. Some whisper about abandoning the expedition, taking what little they've already recovered, and cashing out. Others can't tear their eyes from the promise of a jackpot, unlike anything Nome has ever seen. Emily cuts through the division with steel in her voice. "We came for a miracle. This is it. Nobody walks away. Her words hang in the salty air, heavy with the weight of choice. Loyalty holds, for now. Excavation resumes, the dredge roaring with relentless intensity. The seabed groans beneath the pressure of their drills and pumps, churning black mud and shards of rock into the sluices. Then it happens. A diver, scraping away at a wall of compacted silt, radios up in disbelief. "It's glowing down here." The feed crackles as cameras switch on, and the image appears on deck monitors. What the diver has uncovered is no scattering of flakes, no fleeting glint of color. It is a vertical slab, a monolith streaked through with golden veins so bright they gleam even in the beam of artificial light. The crew erupts in chaos, shouting over one another, crowding the monitors. The wall stretches beyond the diver's lights, hundreds of feet of ore embedded like lightning frozen in stone. This isn't just gold dust. This is a wall, a structure, something vast and untouched. Samples are rushed to the surface, and the weight is staggering. Each chunk, each fragment, is richer and purer than anything dredged from Nome in decades. Geologists among the crew run the numbers, shaking their heads in disbelief as calculations climb higher and higher. 35 million, at least. And that's only the visible stretch of the vein. For a moment, the deck is electric. Disbelief transforms into euphoria. After years of struggle, debt, doubt, and mockery, Emily Riedel is staring at the kind of discovery that could reset the entire history of the Bering Sea. Cameras roll as she places her hand on a slab chunk, streaked with yellow fire, and names it with quiet awe, the Golden Wall. The words send chills through the crew. The name fits. It isn't just a vein. It isn't just ore. It is a monument, a fortress of wealth hidden for centuries beneath the crushing dark. Yet beneath the thrill, something else pulses. A silent acknowledgement that nothing this valuable lies unguarded. Rivals are circling. The sea is singing. And the deeper they dig, the louder the warnings grow. Still, Emily doesn't flinch. To her, the Golden Wall isn't just a discovery, it's a calling, and she won't let anything, not fear, not rivals, not even the Bering itself, take it away. The hum of engines roared over the waves as Emily's crew stared at the impossible sight. A matte black helicopter circling just above their dredge. Its windows were tinted, its insignia scrubbed away, but the men inside carried rifles slung across their shoulders. Nobody in Nome had ever seen anything like it. Emily grabbed the radio, demanding identification, but only static answered, followed by a low, deliberate voice, "Walk away, or you won't leave alive." The crew froze, glancing at one another with unease. It wasn't a bluff. Offshore investors had been circling her operation for months, hungry to seize whatever secrets she had uncovered. Now it was clear. They knew about the Golden Wall, and they weren't going to let her keep it. The sea became a battlefield, without a shot being fired. Rival dredges prowled the edges of Emily's claim, their lights sweeping across the water like predators hunting prey. Corporate-backed boats lingered beyond the horizon, too far for names to be read, but close enough to remind her that Nome wasn't just Nome anymore. It had become the front line of a global gold war. Crew morale fractured as the threat pressed in. Some whispered about cutting a deal, sell coordinates, sell samples, sell something before things turned violent. Others stood behind Emily, hardened by loyalty, refusing to bend no matter the cost. Emily herself clenched the ship's rail and declared to the cameras, "We found it together. We'll protect it together. No one takes this from us." But even as her words galvanized part of the crew, the sea began to whisper other secrets. During a late-night scan, divers probing behind the Golden Wall found fissures too clean, too linear. They weren't natural cracks, they were tunnels. Perfectly straight shafts running deep into the seabed, hidden for centuries under silt and salt. The sonar painted images of vast passageways that no geology textbook could explain. And when the divers surfaced, they spoke with trembling voices, not of tunnels alone, but of carvings, strange etched symbols along the stone, smoothed yet visible, illuminated by their lights, as though they'd been waiting to be rediscovered. Emily remembered the Russian archive, the Tsarist warnings, the mention of unearthly metals. Had miners been here before? Had an earlier expedition carved out chambers, hidden veins, then sealed them away? Legends of Russian barks enslaving prisoners to dig beneath the sea began to swirl in her thoughts. The fissures looked less like geology and more like architecture, gold veins sculpted into cathedral-like vaults. Nome wasn't just a mine anymore, it was an archaeological site, maybe even a tomb. Excitement surged through some of the crew. If they weren't just chasing nature, if they'd stumbled onto the remnants of an ancient operation, then this was more than fortune. It was history. Cameras rolled as Emily whispered, "This isn't a vein. This is a monument," but awe didn't erase fear. For every crew member who stared wide-eyed at the thought of ancient cathedrals, another muttered about curses, about Russians lost to madness, about tunnels that sang before collapsing. Fear and greed pressed closer together until they were indistinguishable. The pressure fractured loyalty. Factions emerged overnight. A handful of deckhands began passing notes, coordinating whispers, discussing offers from rival dredges who promised cash up front for even partial coordinates. Others stood by Emily, defending her vision of protecting the find until it could be properly mined. Tensions rose with each passing tide. Food went missing. Tools were sabotaged. Fuel tanks mysteriously bled dry. Every shadow became a suspect. Every cough a betrayal. Emily caught her first mate in the middle of a heated radio exchange. Encrypted chatter, coordinates half-spoken before the channel cut. She tore the radio from his hand, sparks of fury igniting across the deck as cameras captured every word. "You sold us out," she spat, her voice shaking with betrayal. He fired back with equal venom. "You're going to get us killed. You think you can fight helicopters, corporations, and curses with nothing but loyalty? We need out. We need money in hand. Before it's too late." The argument boiled into chaos. The crew circled like wolves, some siding with him, others shouting in Emily's defense. The fight wasn't fists and knives, it was greed, fear, gold fever, wrapping its claws around every soul on board. Through it all, the golden wall loomed below them in silence, a gleaming slab of fortune waiting to be harvested. But the deeper truth was clear. The treasure wasn't just under the sea. It had already risen to the surface, lodged in the hearts of the crew, warping loyalty into suspicion, friendship into rivalry. Nome wasn't collapsing because of nature or economics. It was collapsing from within. Emily stood at the helm, staring at her fractured family, knowing that the true danger wasn't just corporate helicopters or Russian curses. The true danger was her own crew, driven to madness by the gleam of gold they had only just begun to touch. The dredge thunders through the frigid waters before sunrise, its steel hull groaning as pumps roar and conveyors scrape across the seabed. Emily's crew works like a single organism, hauling ton after ton of golden ore from the Bering Sea, sluices overflowing, sediment churning into foamy white wakes. Each bucket of mud released onto the sorting deck sparks shouts of anticipation as glittering flecks flash gold under harsh floodlights. Time is against them. The currents shift unpredictably. Storms can rise in minutes, and rival dredges circle the edges of visibility like predators, waiting for the slightest misstep. Night brings more danger. Figures slip along the docks in the darkness, attempting to sabotage lines, loosen anchors, or tamper with pumps. Drones whine overhead, their lenses searching, recording, cataloging. One diver almost pays with his life when a hose severs unexpectedly, plunging him into the icy water, the shock threatening to steal his breath. He scrambles back, coughing, shivering, the crew's adrenaline spiking at the reminder that this operation is no longer just about gold. It's survival. Every hour feels like walking a knife edge. Machines creak and whine under the weight of centuries-old sediments and slabs of ore, each chunk ripped free from the frozen seabed. The Golden Wall has begun to reveal its full scope. Panels of gold-streaked rock, hundreds of feet long and impossibly thick, glint in the divers' lights, dazzling in the darkness below. But the deeper they go, the more the ocean fights back. Pressure builds in previously unknown fissures. The currents shift suddenly, ripping at lines and tugging on the hull. Then, a rumble like distant thunder shakes the dredge from stem to stern. Sensors flash alarms, lights strobe across the deck, and an eerie silence follows, as if the sea itself is holding its breath. Without warning, part of the hidden cavern wall behind the Golden Wall collapses. Water explodes into the excavation zone with a violence that freezes the crew in terror. Debris, mud, rock, and broken machinery tumbles into the swirling currents, consuming pumps, sluices, and cranes. Gold-laden crates are swept away, plunging into the depths, swallowed by silt and darkness. The dredge shudders under the weight of the sudden influx, steel groaning in protest. Emily barks orders, cutting through the chaos with precision. Divers scramble, levers are thrown, emergency releases triggered. Crew members slip, catch themselves just in time, hearts pounding as icy water sprays across the deck. For a moment, it seems the ocean might take everything, and indeed it does. Part of the Golden Wall disappears forever into the sediment, lost to centuries more of freezing currents. Yet even in destruction, victory remains. The crew has secured enough ore to confirm an astonishing $35 million in valuation. The wall, partially claimed, stands as proof of both triumph and the sea's relentless will. Even as exhaustion presses down, there's no rest. Word spreads faster than waves can crash, igniting a frenzy. Media outlets break the story with live feeds of golden slabs gleaming in floodlights, drones capturing the relentless operation, and Emily herself commanding the dredge with unflinching resolve. Headlines explode. Emily Riedel unearths Bering Sea's hidden treasure. Lost wall of gold found off Nome coast. Investors, treasure hunters, and historians converge, each bringing questions, calculations, and schemes. Nome, long a quiet mining town, transforms overnight into a hub of feverish speculation. Whispers of what else might lie beneath the sea travel from dockside to tavern, fueling obsession, envy, and desperation. Some hail Emily as a miracle incarnate, a pioneer rewriting history with courage and skill. Others see theft from the sea's ancient guardians, a woman bold or foolish, enough to tempt forces that have lain dormant for centuries. The Golden Wall, though partially destroyed by the sudden collapse, becomes more than a source of wealth. It becomes a symbol, a beacon of human audacity, and a lure for stories both legend and rumor. Ancient tunnels glimpsed in the sonar feed hint at chambers yet untouched. Submerged carvings and straight corridors evoke the whispers of miners lost to history, perhaps forced to work under imperial command, sealing away riches that were not meant for ordinary hands. Emily's crew, weary but exhilarated, catalog every fragment recovered, securing it with both reverence and practicality. Every sample weighed, every slab labeled, every crate locked. Each action is a shield against theft, accident, or ambition run too far. Tension simmers. One wrong move could mean the loss of millions, or worse. The Bering Sea has proven it exacts a price for every reward, and Emily knows the danger is far from over. Amid the chaos, Emily finally allows herself a moment to breathe. She stands on the upper deck of the dredge, the wind whipping hair and jacket, sunlight glinting off the golden fragments stacked below. Around her, the crew works quietly now, focused, their exhaustion mingled with awe. She looks out across the gray expanse, waves rising and falling, a reminder that the sea always gives and always takes. Her voice, low and steady, carries over the deck. The Bering never gives without taking back. It is not a warning, it is a declaration. In that instant, history is written. Emily Riedel is no longer just a miner. She is a legend, a living testament to courage, cunning, and sheer determination. The Golden Wall remains, partially claimed, partially buried, but wholly unforgettable. A monument to human daring, the relentlessness of the sea, and the story that will echo through Nome, through the Bering, and through Gold Rush history for generations to come.